Hi everyone, this is Selena Kraus and welcome to another card making video. Today I'm featuring the new My Monthly Hero kit for July. This kit contains 6x8 stamp set with color layering flamingos. So here's a card that I had on my blog yesterday, or actually 2 days ago. And I had stamped a bunch of flamingo groups or flocks, and I had used the new peony ink, cotton candy, and azalea or azalea, and also intense black ink, and had already die cut them. So this will speed up our process for today. We're gonna make a bridge card. So I will focus on the bridge card. So here I'm cutting piece of Deluxe Smooth White cardstock from Hero Arts. It measures 5.5. That will be the height, and 5 3/4 in width. So before we go on to the scoring, I'm stamping the water. So you can notice that the stamp doesn't cover the entire 5 3/4 of a width. So I'm continuing that, like I'm masking the stamped area and then I'm moving the stamp over a little bit to cover that. So here I position it on that spot where it starts on the right side. That's the 1.5 mark, because we're gonna score 3/4 and 1.5. Once we scored that connecting piece, even if it's not lined up, it won't be noticeable at all. No one's gonna be able to see it because it will be inside in that bridge card, and the score line will go over it and we'll do a valley fold there. Okay, so I've stamped the first layer of the water. Now we're going with the second layer, and here I'm using Pool Party, the reactive Pool Party ink. I position that, I put it back in the corner. I'm just inking that stamp nicely. Okay, so we have one part. I will dry this one. Because it's reactive ink, I didn't want to take the chance to smear it when I mask it. When I mask one part of it, I'm using the same mask. Actually, this is a post-it tape that I use for masking. I'm inking that stamp again and stamping. You will be able to see that line, the connecting line a little bit, but because we are, again, as I said, we're gonna have the score line going right through that connecting line, you won't be able to see it. So now I'm stamping the grass that's coming out of the water using, again, reactive ink. This time I'm using the green apple reactive ink. And I'm just stamping a bunch of those. Okay, I think that's good enough. I will heat set this one to make sure that it's dry, and I'm ink blending some splash ink around the top and the sides, and then on the bottom I'm going with the Arctic ink. That was the first layer that I did. I don't think that I mentioned I used the Arctic ink, and I'm just ink blending over that. There was like a little white line on the bottom, so to make sure that it's not noticeable, I added some ink on the bottom using my ink blending brush, and also above the water, and made kind of those two colors, the splash and the Arctic, blend into each other. Okay, now we're gonna stamp some more. We're gonna do the clouds and we're gonna do the sentiment. So I'm starting with stamping two clouds, and I'm using the unicorn white pigment ink. Okay, now I will position the sentiment. So we're going to be scoring, as I mentioned, at half and at 3/4 and 1.5. So I mask that area to make sure to see what I have left in the middle and to make sure that my sentiment is centered and also that fits in that area. So I decided to go with Your Amazing, and I'm stamping it in intensified black ink. So now I can go back to adding more clouds around there. Again, I'll be using the pigment white unicorn ink and just add a few more clouds around. Apologies here, my misty's a little bit off the camera on the bottom, but I think that you get the idea what I'm doing here. Just adding more ink. I had like one more cloud on the bottom there, on the left side actually, because I have the panel sideways in the misty. So I'm just creating this scene. Before we score this, we're gonna make sure that everything is dry, so when I glide the bone folder over to create those score lines, it doesn't smear the ink. Okay, so now I already had the flamingos, but I'm just cutting some mats to stack that to create to make it more sturdy, because that will be the holding piece of the bridge that will connect the two sides of the bridge. So I die cut two just without any stamping flamingo flocks, stack those together, and now I am adding the stamped image on top. Okay, so that one's ready. And I think it looks pretty good. Now we're gonna do the scoring. So I'm scoring at 3 1/4 and 1.5 on each side, and we're gonna do on each side one valley and one mountain fold. So the 1.5 inches, that will be the valley fold, and the 3/4 inches will be the mountain fold. So I decided to clean my surface here to make sure that there's nothing to stick to my card and transfer ink, because I was doing some ink blending. So here you notice I have an ink mark on the back of the card, but we're gonna add reinforcement, another layer of cardstock that I had trimmed like to fit those panels, kind of those when they're scored. So I just wanted to make my card sturdier and make sure that it does not get damaged when going through the mail. So I'm adding those. That's 3 1/4 inches are those panels. When you make the reinforcement, trim them down to a little bit less than 3 1/4. So because we have the score lines and they take a little bit of that width, so it's not exactly 3 1/4, but the panels would need to be, to fit nicely, will need to be a little bit narrower, and also for the middle piece. So you can see there I covered that ink smudge. So now we have left to adhere to create that bridge. So on one side I'll have folded it up, and on the other side I will have it straight, and just make sure that you have only adhesive on the flamingo that attaching those far left and far right tabs, so it does not stick to any other area of your card. I let it dry, and magic of YouTube, it's already dry, and you can see how that bridge is folded and how it's unfolding and standing up when you take the card out of the envelope. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Please see the link below to my blog post, and hope to see you soon with another card making video. Thanks for watching. Bye.